Hello and welcome to Inside the Americas. I'm Delano D'Souza. Coming up on the show this week, Jair Bolsonaro mulls a minimum wage increase with the presidential election days away. We'll be bringing you a special report on the state of higher education in Brazil. Inflation and the cost of living high on voters' minds as early voting gets underway ahead of the midterm elections in the United States. And Adidas drops Kanye West after anti-Semitic comments posted to his Twitter account, the decision likely to substantially hit the singer's net worth. First, days to go until the second round of the presidential vote over in Brazil. Both Jair Bolsonaro and Lula da Silva leaving no stone unturned in trying to convince voters that they've got what it takes to lead the country going forward. After picking up a big-ticket endorsement from football star Neymar, Brazil's current president is now considering raising the minimum wage and adjusting the salaries of civil servants for inflation. Universities in the country say they're desperate after years of budget cuts imposed by Bolsonaro. Our correspondents on the ground report.
A former psychiatric hospital built more than 120 years ago, Rio de Janeiro Federal University only has this wooden staircase remaining of its past splendor. Has it been like this for a long time?
It's been like this ever since I've been here. Look at the floors. There's something missing there.
It's a lack of maintenance which represents a permanent danger for students like Jessica Pinheiro, who's studying social sciences.
The whole university is built of wood, so if there's a fire, it's over, because there's no emergency exit, no evacuation protocol in place.
Since the start of the pandemic, thousands of study and research grants have also been suspended with no explanation. Like this university, more than 68 others in Brazil are in dire straits. From 2019 to 2022, public federal universities' budget has been cut by 50%.
Once again, our university is threatened with closure.
These students have condemned the government's wish to privatize the management of universities, which they see as an enemy of those in power.
It's in the universities that the greatest anti-Bolsonaro movements have started. In 2019, there were more than 100,000 students protesting. It was the first major mobilization against Bolsonaro at the start of the pandemic, so he feels that we are a pole of resistance. That's why he attacks us back.
By blocking more than 500 million euros of the federal university budget just before the election, Bolsonaro lit the touch paper. That day, thousands of students demonstrated in Rio. It was a mobilization on the streets and social media which, according to Jessica, forced the government to backtrack and freeze the budget only until December.
When the people take to the streets, they can change things. Every time we demonstrate, we can make the government buckle, whether on the streets or on social media.
Like Jessica, these young students constitute one of the most important electoral hotbeds for the left-wing candidate Lula, who's promised to prioritize education and access to university if he wins.
Now, in under 2 weeks' time, the midterm elections will be taking place in the United States. Millions of people have already cast their ballots. Democrats are fighting to keep control of Congress and take control of the Senate. However, the rising cost of energy and high levels of inflation risk Republicans making gains. Leo McGuinn reports.
2 weeks out, voting for the midterms has already begun in the US, with early voting underway in some form in 35 states. While over 8 million ballots have already been cast, there remains some level of skepticism around the process. In the 2020 general elections, Donald Trump alleged large levels of voting fraud was carried out through early voting.
This is a fraud on the American public.
A claim which has not been backed up with any proof. Because of this, security has been ramped up in many polling stations nationwide, with one city commissioner assuring voters that their ballot is safe.
Since 2020, we've had to take a more integral look at security, both physical security and the security process. You know, elections are, there's a lot of redundancy in the process, so, you know, people should be rest assured that voting is safe, it's free and fair, and it's totally legit.
While millions are exercising their right to vote early, many more will not vote at all, especially amongst the youth demographic. In the last midterm elections in 2018, 2/3 of Georgia's young registered voters ended up not casting their ballots. That is something that Heidi, a volunteer that runs booths at concerts and festivals, is trying to change.
We really want them to know that they have so much sway and can really change the results of these elections. So yeah, we really just want to educate them on what's going to be on the ballot and hope that they take that next step to register and show up to the polls.
The elections will take place on Tuesday, the 8th of November, with polls currently projecting the Republicans to regain control of Congress from the Democrats.
To our number of the week next, and it's 33.8 million. That's the amount of people living in food-insecure households in the United States. As inflation remains stubbornly high in the country, the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that 10% of households are struggling to put food on the table.
At the end of the day, the manager of this grocery store says he feels like a superhero. The Grocery Spot is a pay-what-you-can supermarket in Atlanta's largely black Grove Park neighborhood.
I feel like Robin Hood. This many people ate today. That's a good feeling.
Donations come to us in ways to keep us going. People see we're short on this or short on that, they help us. It's the Robin Hood effect. Everybody's falling in love with that type of feeling and want to feel that good. So
contractors, car dealers, all sorts of people come to the Grocery Spot, around 300 to 400 each day, all struggling with sky-high prices. This alternative supermarket is just one of many initiatives that has popped up across the country as people turn to their community to counter systemic inequality.
So people don't have access to produce grocery stores. The grocery store that was really a part of the area is no longer here. And so with that, people lost access to healthy food.
The phenomenon is known as a food desert in the United States. It disproportionately affects low-income communities and can contribute to poor diet, obesity, and other illnesses, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Sarah Salvatore works at the same local community garden in Jacksonville. The way she sees it, it's a policy issue.
I think food deserts are very easy to eliminate, but we have to invest our resources into eliminating them. We have to invest our money, our grants, our volunteer efforts. We have to elect people who are putting their energy towards solving these issues because they're solvable. They're solvable, they're just underfunded.
With the midterms fast approaching, Biden's administration will be put to the test. In November 2020, polls showed that he had drawn disproportionate support from black voters, women, college graduates, and city dwellers.
Now, Adidas is the latest in a long string of companies to have dropped Ye, or the artist known as Kanye West, after his latest anti-Semitic statements. The sportswear giant said the comments were unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous. The split will likely take a hefty toll on Ye's finances, as Selena Sykes now reports.
A superstar rapper and fashion entrepreneur, now a pariah. In the span of just a few weeks, Kanye West, now known as Ye, has lost connections to major brands and other lucrative relationships over recent anti-black and anti-Semitic comments. Adidas is the latest to drop the artist, ending a €250 million partnership.
Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect and fairness.
Adidas had come under increasing pressure to cut ties. The sportswear manufacturer put Kanye West's Yeezy brand collection under review after he wore a White Lives Matter t-shirt at Paris Fashion Week. Several anti-Semitic outbursts that followed were the last straw for many businesses collaborating with the rapper. Clothing retailer Gap, high-end fashion house Balenciaga and bank JP Morgan have all recently said they were ending their relationships.
Brands have no choice now but to cut ties with him because, you know, he's just saying things that aren't right and shouldn't be said by anyone.
We are all God's people.
The rapper is not new to controversy.
I love this guy right here.
Since 2016, he's raised eyebrows for publicly supporting former President Donald Trump and saying that slavery in the US was a choice, comments that are costing him his career. Forbes reported that as of Tuesday, Kanye West no longer featured on their list of billionaires. The magazine estimates that losing the Adidas partnership has cut his net worth from $1.5 billion to $400 million.
The later actress Mae Wong is on the back of a quarter in the United States. The movie star has become the first Asian American to be featured on US currency. Wong, who died in the 1960s, had called for less stereotypical roles for Asian characters on screen.
Women who were pioneering, women who were trailblazing, women who made a difference, women who persevered. And there's no one as important as many other women, but Mae Wong. When you think about Mae Wong, she was the first Asian American actress, 60 films under her credit. She, in fact, not only starred in silent film and TV, but also in theater. She made a difference, and she changed the dynamics of entertainment for Asian Americans.
And it's Halloween this weekend, an event that's growing increasingly popular here in Europe. However, over in Canada, residents near Montreal can head to the first pumpkin village. They can pick up pumpkins to carve for decorations as they get ready to trick or treat. That's it for this edition of Inside the Americas. From all of us on the team, thank you very much for watching.